this is the latest plugin by Waves Audio. This is the InTrigger drum replacer plugin, a smart plugin to replace, if you want, like entirely the parts of the drum kit, or if you want to blend drum samples with the original signal, it's also possible, of course. The cool thing about this plugin is that it has a smart algorithm. When you click here on Learn, it will analyze the whatever drums you present to the plugin, right? It will analyze them, and it will set the threshold. It will set them automatically, so you don't need to do anything manually. It will only focus on what you tell the plugin to focus on. That's a pretty cool thing. The target, yeah, because sometimes you are replacing drums and stuff like that, but the trigger, it's also replacing maybe some leakage or some bleed on the microphone from other parts of the kit and stuff like that. So in this case, it's only going to replace whatever you wanted to replace and whatever the target that you set here. But it has a smart algorithm, and it will learn. It will focus on the source that you provided, right? For instance, kick drums, snares, toms, and stuff like that, right? It has, besides that, you can, let me just turn it on here. Okay, so that you can see here, this in blue, it's what the plugin is like focused on replacing. Whatever you have in red here, it's ignoring it, and you can use this target to maybe replace some other sounds, but usually you don't want the plugin or the drum replacer to replace like leakage in that microphone. For instance, on the kick drum you might have leakage of the snare or tom hits or something like that, but in this case we can get very focused only on the source, which is the main source, which is the kick drum in this case, right? With this target that we have here, we can blend different layers of samples, right? For instance, in this case I have 3 different samples for kicks, right? And we can turn them off and turn them on here. We can blend them to taste. For instance, these 3 kick drum samples can be blended to taste with the volume, right? The volume from each one of them. We can tune them differently. We can delay them a bit. We can solo each sample, right? So we have the option to use the 3 layers of kick drums, for instance, in this case, or we can the plugin can use it in sequence, like the first one, second, third one. It will audition, right? For the first one in order, right? In sequence, and then it will randomize the order of auditioning the samples, or also changing the velocity. I usually like all layers because I am auditioning and hearing all of the samples at once, right? Replacing the kick drum, and of course you select how much you want to replace of the main source here in this button to the bottom right. We can select the source, only listening to the source. We can select only the trigger, right? Only the replacing, or a blend here in the middle, 50%. It's like a mix knob, right? Blend and stuff like that, okay? It also has a gate as well. Sometimes it's useful, of course, to have. And we can add more samples here of our own drum sample library, right? Or another cool thing, if you own the Waves Cosmos, which is like a huge organizer for all of the all of your samples, besides some other Waves samples for many different sounds and synths and all that. But in this case, we're interested in drum samples. We can, if you click on this like magnifying glass icon, you're going to open up here within the DAW, the Cosmos, and you can look for, let me show it to you, the that app, right? I don't have it loaded here on my DAW, but I have it here on my desktop. So, here it is, right? This is the Cosmos app. And here we can sort through different samples. Let's say, for instance, snare. And all of the samples are going to appear here. We can add more folders. We can locate the samples and have them here organized by categories, by different categories, tags. We can use tags. We can key in BPM as well, in case that you have like some other loops or synth loops or synth samples or vocal samples. But in this case, we're interested in drums, right? So for instance, we can use, for instance, this tag drums, and we're going to be using all of these. And within the ReTrigger plugin by Waves, you can add these samples to the plugin. Like we can addition them here as well. These are fills, right? But we have also one shots like these. For instance, if we look for kicks, we have one shots, right? And all of these samples can be used. Let's go back to, here it is. Okay, so now let's use it. Let's put it to action here. I have this drum sound. Okay, I haven't used any samples yet for trigger. So let's click here on learning, and it's going to locate automatically the correct threshold for this source. And now it's there. It's only identifying the kick drum here in blue, and it's leaving other sounds, right? For instance, here in the kick drum. If I reduce this, we have snare, we have, right? But the way it left it, it was only focusing on the kick drum. There is isolating the kick drum, right? Pretty cool. So it does it automatically with the learn function. In seconds, you have instant threshold. You can adjust it, of course, but it's pretty smart, and it does it automatically. Very cool. So now let's start using the samples that I have loaded here. Okay, I have this first initial kick drum. No trigger engaged. We can add a second layer, another kick drum, for instance. All right, this one has a bit of reverb, more room sound, and let's okay, so I have another one here, by the way. This one, the first one. Okay, and we can choose only to listen to the trigger. So this is the kick drum before, after, or we can combine source and trigger here in the middle. Let's say that we don't want as much as and let's hear it in the context of the full drum kit here. First off, listen to the kick drum, right? There we replaced. We still have the natural sound of the kick drum. There is only triggered, only source, Very, very cool. And now let me turn this down a bit. Now let's replace the snare, right? This is the organic, natural snare in this drum kit, and let's detect automatically the hits so that it sets the threshold correctly. Let's click here on Learn and turn on the plugin. It's analyzing, it's leaving only what we want to focus on. If we increase here, we only focus on this sound. If we decrease this, it starts to catch other things, right? But we don't want that. We don't want cymbal bleed or sometimes. So in this case, only in blue, right? The snare. There we go. Here we have the gate. Okay. Let's start blending. I have 4 samples here. And by the way, these samples are from the Cosmos library from Waves. But you can use third-party samples. You can drag and drop them here. It's pretty cool. So this is the trigger. Let's add another layer of snare. Okay, another. I have 4 here in line. There you have it. Before, only the samples, only the source, 50-50. And let's check it out in context of the full mix. I'm sorry, the full drum kit first. So first off, focus on the snare, right? And we can blend it to taste with the volume here, output. A smart way to replace drums, that's a big one. Pretty cool. This smart threshold is super cool. It saves a lot of huge amounts of time. Very impressive plugin. Let's check it out in context of the full mix now. I'm gonna turn off the 2 instances of InTrigger. Huge difference. More polished. You can still leave the natural feel, natural sound with this blend that we have, source and trigger. So yeah, very impressive plugin, I think. Introductory price of $49.99, 44% off is in this new smart trigger and drum replacer plugin.